I'm going to create this quick video with an example proposal explaining the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things I think everyone needs to keep an eye on for their final version due next week. And I'm going to do this instead of writing comments in Canvas because I think this is more accessible. So from the top, don't forget that your memo header is single spaced for this and that you are addressing your group as they are your primary audience. You should be writing to your group, not the business or me throughout. You have an introduction section. Most likely it's 2 paragraphs long. In the first section, you need to introduce your business and what they do or your nonprofit. The second paragraph should introduce the problem that you see, your solution for the problem, and mention that you're going to talk about a project plan later in this proposal. Those are the main things you're going to do here, so they need to be touched on briefly in the intro. The background section first should start off with a paragraph or 2 where you talk about why this nonprofit or business was of interest to you and a little bit more about what they do. And then before you leave the background section, you need a paragraph discussing again the problem, but this time in more detail on why it's serious. And then another paragraph discussing the solution and a little bit in detail about what you think is the solution to the problem. Then you move to project plan. Project plan is where most of your grade is earned. It's the most complicated, and you are going to need to create subheadings because you have multiple topics in here. Project plan is your plan for you and the group to write your final paper in this class, which is due in May. That's the deliverable. You are basically, if you pick your business and your proposal, what you're saying is, if we choose my nonprofit or my business and my problem and solution that I'm proposing here, then this is the plan I'm proposing to everybody in my group, how we are going to write that final paper. Since it is a research paper, there are going to be the obvious topics of researching your business problem and solution, and then writing the paper. So the project plan section should start off with a heading like this, and then maybe a short 1 or 2 sentence intro that says, this is the plan for writing the deliverable or the paper that I'm proposing. The whole point of this thing, I'm proposing this paper topic and this paper plan. And so you're going to say below, I'm going to talk about researching and writing. Then you should have a research approach because that's the first thing you're going to do. And it makes sense to organize your sections in chronological order. And the very first thing you're going to do, it's required this week, is to start using the library databases. So say that. First, the very first thing we're going to do as part of our research approach on this final paper is utilize the Kramer library databases. Include some of your search terms and topics you think you'll be searching in this first paragraph of the research section. Just explain that, what you're going to do in the library. You are required to give me 2 sources in this final proposal. So the second paragraph in this section could say the following 2 sources represent the kind of articles we're going to be looking for, and then you just list them out. And then a lot of you are doing things like web design or social media marketing. Those are fresh and dynamic and ever-changing. So before you leave your research section, it might be appropriate to add a paragraph saying, in addition to library research, we're going to have to do some online research as well for, current and credible sources on trending topics in web design or whatever it might be. That's a pretty good, comprehensive, detailed discussion of your research. After that's done, then you can move on to other sections. A lot of you are going to be looking at examples of social media marketing or examples of web design in other nonprofits or small businesses. So for those of you who are doing that, create a competitor analysis or competitor audit, competitor comparison, whatever you want to call it, section where you basically explain what you're going to do. Probably just a paragraph is fine. You are also asked to talk about anticipated problems. That's in your assignment sheet. So you can say, we think we're going to have problems doing this, or we might run into issues here, or we don't think we're going to have any problems, but at least address it. And then lastly, before you leave your project plan for writing your final paper, you have to have a writing and editing discussion. So you can write writing and editing plan, and you can say, after we've researched and understand our topic, we're going to work collaboratively on this paper. We're going to get feedback from the professor. We're going to, edit it. We're going to go back to our research as needed, and we're going to meet our deadline in May. And then by then you have written a detailed, organized, comprehensive project plan for what you are proposing you guys are going to do over the next month of class to write this final paper, research and writing included. After that, you have a qualification section where you refer to yourself in third person, and this is where you pitch yourself as somebody who's capable of doing the research and writing that you said you're going to do in the project plan. In the real world, you would pitch everybody on the team, but you don't know your team members really, so just pitch yourself. Third person, full name, not first name only. You can use your last name or a title in front of it and your pronouns and your full name. But the biggest thing I'm seeing is people referring to themselves by their first name. Budget section, this is also a big miss. The student example isn't fantastic. What I want you to do in here is create a budget table for every member in your group to get paid for both research and writing, and an expense total, like grand total for all of you to get paid to create this deliverable that you're promising you'll do, the one that you discussed in your project plan, your final paper. So you'll have your members' names, including your own. You can make any variation of this. It's just a very standard budget table, but you should have columns of like how many hours researching, how many hours writing and editing. My numbers are not accurate. I just used easy numbers. Your hourly wage, materials cost is optional. Calculate these rows across to a calculating column down to a grand total. You need to, before that table, be like, this is the budget. It covers research and writing for all members of the team. If you include materials, you explain what they are. And then you say, see the budget below, or see the budget table below. Then you have this table. Then you wrap up the budget section with a sentence saying, this is the grand total, don't anticipate any more costs, and just end the conversation before you move on to conclusion, which just wraps it all up. Just saying, we should do this. This is a great organization. We could really help them by doing X, Y, and Z. And that's the end of your proposal. Trying to keep this short. Hopefully that helps people. Please email me if you need more.